Hello everyone and welcome. It's Shanna. Now we've got some new product from Spellbinders. This is called Sip Ole, and it's a margarita glass, and we've got a lime, a pepper, a strawberry, avocado, a hat, a cactus, and it's just a really fun set. I think there's 27 dies in that. And we've got the Sip Ole sentiments that go with it, and they match very nicely. And I did want to point out that if you have a question about all the little die pieces, they do have the guide on the site where you can print. If you go look at the pictures for the product, scroll through there, you'll find this. You can print it off and it'll show you how everything is assembled. It's pretty self-explanatory. There might be a couple things that you might question, but anyway, I've got all of my pieces die cut out here in my tray. I'm just raising my desk and getting us a close-up view here, and we're going to get to working with this product. We're going to actually make two cards. We're going to make our standard margarita, and we're also going to make like a strawberry daiquiri since we've got all those strawberries in there. Now I've die cut out the glass in a black, and then I've got a black with a silver gold, and I didn't know which ones I was going to use. I also die cut out the glasses in a red and a metallic pink. We're actually going to go with a solid black on here. I'm just bringing in my blending brushes and grabbing some ink, and we are going to get to blending on this. So I think this is Peridot cardstock from Spellbinders, I believe, or the equivalent of. I can't remember if they kept that name when they changed it or not. Anyway, I've just got some mowed lawn there, and I think it's a really good blend for a margarita-looking drink there. And so we're going to go ahead and blend up the top of the drink as well. We're also going to use the mowed lawn for the limes and the kind of like the seeds to the strawberries. And we're just going to get, while I've got that mowed lawn out there, I'm just going to ink everything up that is that light green color, and we'll get everything colored up. And I think the blend looks nice on it. It works well for what we're making here. So we're just going to bring in the other elements, and this is the avocado. This is the inside of the avocado, and so I'm going to put some green on it as well and just blend it up and give it a little bit of dimension, and then we'll add, we'll layer it up. So there's some real nice detail on there, etch detail, so you can see how to offset this lighter green on the darker green, because it is offset. There's like a wider side of dark green on one side and a thinner on the other, and then we've kind of got the pit, and I've just die cut it out in brown, and I'm taking my time because it's not just circular, it's kind of an odd shape, and so it fits in there just right, and there's even like a little etched detail in there. And now we've got 3 pieces of the lime. And for this piece, I think I just need to punch out these little triangles that were included in there. And then we're going to layer it up on that. But before we do that, I'm going to add some color to it. I just want to have 3 different colors of green here for this lime. So we're going to have the real yellow base, and then we're going to have the mowed lawn for the second layer. And then we're going to have our dark green cardstock for the next layer. And we're going to have a real dimensional lime that we're going to use. Just trying to get everything lined up nice and neat. And then here's the dark part. And it's actually got like pits, like the rind of a lime. It's really got the detail in there, so it's a pretty nice die for this. And it comes together pretty quickly. So we'll just give it a good press, and we've got us a lime. Isn't that cute? I'm going to add a little bit more green on there. Now these are the pieces that I'm bringing in now are the backs of the strawberries, and I've got red strawberries, and I've got this, and I thought we would just add some green to it and ink that up a little bit, and then we'll layer up our strawberries on this. Now for this card, I did the red strawberries, and then for the other card in which we're doing a strawberry daiquiri, I go with a more of a deeper red, and I use a pink for the seeds in it, and we'll just kind of change that up a little bit. So I'm going to clean this green off of here, and we're going to do some blending with some of the other elements, and we'll bring in our vintage photo for that and do some blending. I believe I actually went with gathered twigs and I didn't use vintage photo. I decided to go a little bit darker on this because we're going to blend the reds, and so I wanted to go a little bit darker. And so I'm just popping out all those little seed holes from the strawberries, and that's what's kind of taken me a minute. I'm just catching all those little bits over there in that little tray that I've got all my die cut pieces laid in. So I'm just going to add a little shading to one side of each of these strawberries just to kind of add, you know, some shading to it, a little bit of dimension, and then we'll get them assembled. So I've also got a pepper here, like a hot pepper, and I'm just going to do the same, blend it up a little bit, and add some color to it. So I'll clean up that brown, and I'm going to get to assembling these pieces here together. So we'll get our strawberries together, and I've got greenery and everything already die cut out and ready. So we'll get these glued up and we'll get them laid down on the backs of this. And I decided to start off with all the little bits and pieces, and then we'll put the cup together last. I just thought, well, we'll just crank all these little things, get them all assembled and layered up, and then we can just bring in our glass, and then we can start tucking everything in our glass. So just getting them lined up and getting them pinched together. I don't know if the ink blending or what was kind of making it want to slide around, or it didn't seem like it wanted to glue very easy. And all I could figure was maybe the ink was a little bit wet and it was just wanting to slide around, but I had to pinch them pretty good. And we're going to have 3 strawberries on this. We've got the strawberry, the avocado, the lime, and the pepper. And we're going to bring some of the strawberry flowers in as well. And just, this is going to be a very decorative glass, margarita glass. Now here's the little green pieces that go on the strawberries. And I think I actually laid this one down upside down. There's like a single, looks like a leaf that I put down on it, and I think it's actually the stem of the top of it, which it doesn't matter. It looks fine. You can do it either way. On the next set, I will do it differently. I'm going to bring in some of the green stems, though, and we're going to put the strawberry flowers on here, so it doesn't really matter that I didn't have the stem on the top of it. It just looks like more leaves. And so I just thought we'd add some of these white flowers and put them on the stems and get them laid down on here. Now here I'm thinking I'm going to use a smaller stem for this, and I actually am using the stem to the pepper, and so I'll have to go ahead and die cut out another one. But it'll work for the flowers. I'm going to put 2 flowers on this particular strawberry, and then we'll just leave the other ones bare, and we'll kind of cluster them up when we get ready to use them. So we've got a white flower here. It's a solid flower. And then there's another flower that's included in the die set. There's actually 2 dies that create it. And it's like a 2-layer flower. We've got like 2 petals here, and then we've got like 3 petals here, and you kind of layer them up to create the flower. It's just a different look. It's like you're looking like it's more of a cupped flower than the flat one, I guess is what I want to say. And there are some little centers. There's a little moon-shaped center that goes in the cupped one, and then there's a circular one that goes in the flat flower, and that's what I'm doing there. And so we've got our little strawberry with the little flowering leaves that come on those strawberry vines, and now I'm looking for the greenery for the pepper, and that's when I'll realize that I have used it and I need to die cut it out. So I'm going to go get it and get it die cut out, and we'll be right back. So at this point, I was off camera die cutting it out, and I brought it in, and you can see I've laid it down there. So I'm just going to grab my tweezers. You've got to have those tweezers with all these small bits and pieces, and we'll get that little green piece picked up. I'm just showing you, we're going to get it laid down on there, and I had used it on the other. And you can see how that works. It's got just a little tiny stem, like it was, you know, kind of pulled off the vine like that. And so here I'm going to kind of audition my cups. I've got the black one. I think I've decided, yeah, and here's the black glitter. And I've just decided to go with a solid black. Now, I had originally die cut 2 black glasses out, thinking I was going to use black for both my margarita and my daiquiri, but I decided to use different colors, so I went ahead and layered those two together. This set has a sombrero with it, and it is really cute. We've got some real neat decorative detail. This first piece is a shadow, and it kind of just tucks on the underneath of the hat there. And so I just did a darker brown for that, and I'm just going to get it laid down on there, clean up some glue. And it's got some fun decorative detail, kind of these zigzag pieces here. You kind of layer one on the top and then one on the bottom, and it really creates some fun detail on this hat. And then you also have a couple of pieces that go like bands that go on the top part of the hat as well. So this is a really fun little set here. So I've got kind of a dark orange, and then we've got the yellow here that we're getting laid down on here. I think it's beeswax is what it is. It might be cinnamon and beeswax is what I'm using. Both of it's all Spellbinders, and it looks really pretty. And then we need to get the little bands, and these die cut out with the decorative pieces. So I've got an orange band and then a yellow band, and we're going to bring them in and get them laid down on our hat. And it'll just add some fun detail to it. I think the hat's really fun. You could use this hat on, some of your characters. I think it'd be fun to add this hat to some of your other dies where you have characters. I think it could be a really fun addition to use. So there's the orange piece, and we're going to get it laid down on there. Very fun. I think that's a really cute element to this set. So I'm just bringing in my blending brush. I've got that gathered twigs on there, and I'm just adding a little bit of darkness to the top of my hat. And now we've got, this is like your swizzle stick or your, I don't know if you were going to, poke some olives on it or whatever. We've got a cactus, and I think it's really fun. And so I'm going to put the cactus on the end of that. And, you could stick it through your lime if you wanted to. I'm going to tuck my lime beside it. You also have this sugar skull that is included in this set. I didn't know what that was. Somebody on one of my lives the other night told me that, and I'd forgotten it, and I actually went back to the Spellbinders site and looked at it, but it's called a sugar skull. And I've used that red, and I'm just laying some of that gathered twigs down on there just to kind of darken it up a little bit. And then you've got that little black piece there. This is another one of those dies sets that includes the piece for the eyes. And so you can just use that and get it laid behind there. So if you're wondering what that little die is for, it's for the eyes for this. And you can just layer it up. So this comes together. This is really neat looking how it comes together. It's got some really good detail on the skull. Whoops. I've got my fingers have ink all over them, and I thought if I go to press that skull down and I don't wipe my hands off, I'm going to get ink all over that white skull. So I took a minute and took some alcohol and sprayed my hands down real good and grabbed my rag and cleaned them up so that I could pinch this thing together and not worry about getting all of that gathered twig ink on there. So I think we're about ready to start assembling our margarita glass. So I'm going to get some glue on the back of this, and we'll just start putting all of our pieces. And this is when it really starts to come together and be fun. I really like the detail on the glasses. All of this Happier Hour set is full of some really fun detailed glasses. Just super fun. Yesterday I ran the Fountain Wishes set, which is the malt or the milkshake glass, and it was super fun. And then I previously ran the special toast set on my live, and that glass was really fun as well. So I'll try to link these videos that I'm referencing up into this video here so that if you haven't caught them, you can check them out. Now I'm just tucking that swizzle stick or whatever you want to call it down in there with the cactus and getting it positioned. We're going to add a little bit more glue to our skull, and we're just going to start adding our little bits and pieces. Now I did forget to put on this it would be salt. So I need to put the salt around the back of the cup and then the front of the cup. So you just die cut out 2 of those for each cup. And I was trying to get it to where you could still see the edge of the cup, so it looked like the cup was dipped in the salt. And then we'll do that on the front as well. And that is a lot of salt. I'm telling you what, if you get that much salt, whew, that's a lot. So we'll just give it a press. Get it stuck down on there. Now, here's my little pepper, and I'm just kind of moving things around, trying to figure out what I'm going to do with it. I am going to stick my lime inside there. I'm going to tuck it in under that ledge. I tried to leave a little bit of that not glued so that I could tuck things in as I wanted to. And so that's what I'm going to do, just tuck that lime in there. And then we're going to prop the hat on the side of the glass. The packaging shows it like that. I think it's a great way to show the sombrero. And so we're going to do that. And we've got our avocado, and this is where I'm going to bring in, this is a new embossing folder from Spellbinders, and I'm going to bring it in and use it to emboss a panel. I thought we'd get our card base ready before we start clustering all of our bits and pieces. And this embossing folder is a 3D, so we're doing the 3D sandwich. We've got our D plate and our A plate, and we're just going to run it through. I will link all the materials in this description box below because I have forgotten what, I think it's called Crackle, but I've forgotten what the 3D embossing folder is called. So we're going to use it. I used the cinnamon cardstock here, and we're going to bring in some black. I've got my card base here. We're going to get it scored up. And then we're going to get these 2 panels layered down together. I will cut that embossed panel down. That first black panel I grabbed was not an A2 size panel, so I had to go and get another one that was a full A2 size. And so we're going to get it laid down on our card base, and then we'll cut that embossed panel down. And I think I go 3 3/4 by 5 because I'm going to have a good black frame around this. And I just thought it would look nice with the black cup glass that we've got. So I'm just trying to get it lined up nice and neat. And then we'll just trim this one down. You can see the great detail that's on there. And I think, yeah, I think I'm going to go 3 3/4 by 5 on this. And we've got a good frame around there, and we've got a nice home plate for our focal image. So we'll just get some glue on here and get it laid down. We got to put plenty of glue on there because we've got all of those embossed edges, and so you've got to make sure you hit some spots where the glue, where the card's going to be touching the base. It kind of looks like a Halloween card with the kind of the orange and the black together and then the green. I guess it is the right time of year for that. So I'm just going to kind of fool around with my little bits and pieces and figure out how I want to position them. And then we'll get our card assembled. I do have those other 2 strawberries at the top of my desk there. I will fuss and fuss with getting these strawberries to glue together, and we'll get them laid down on there. So I have a general idea what I'm going to do, how I'm going to lay these down. So we're going to go ahead and get our glass laid down, and then we'll start adding our little bits and pieces around our glass. I'm going to add some foam tape to the sombrero and the cactus just because they are on top of a couple of different layers, and so I thought it would just be beneficial to add some foam to it just so they don't get bent or squished or whatever. So we're going to do that and get it laid down on there. And I'm trying to get that foam piece where I want it. And I think I get to looking at it, I'm like, it's a little crooked, so I'll shift it here and we'll straighten it up so it's not so crooked on my card base. I think it would have been fine because you can lay it wonky or whatever, but so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our avocado and I'll glue it down, and then we're going to pop up our pepper around it, and I think it'll be cute. That's a cute little avocado. You could use it with, I just did that set with all the pasta. You could, we had the meatballs and the cheese and the garlic And I think you could add your avocado and your peppers and your strawberries and everything. We've got a whole pantry full of food now with this month's release. You could really mix and mingle all of these things together. So there's our pepper. And then here I'm going to fight with these strawberries a little bit before I can get them laid down on the card base. So you guys let me know, are you enjoying this happy hour collection? I've got at least one more video, I think, to do with it. It is the Better Press plates, and it's the one that has all of the fun, I guess, middle-aged women's sentiments, and I'm going to do it next. I've got some ideas for that. I was kind of eyeballing it today and have some ideas, so hopefully you're enjoying this set. I have linked, like I said, I have linked all the materials in the description box below, and if you'll click on those links and shop with those links, it certainly helps my channel. I know I say this all the time, but you guys don't know how much it does help. It continues, it enables me to continue getting product from Spellbinders so that I can bring you new stuff on the channel. So it's very helpful. So I greatly appreciate when you do click on those links. And if you wouldn't mind, hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed, please feel free to subscribe to my channel. I'd love that. I do have a membership. I don't have a lot of members. I don't push it much. But there are, I do have a membership, and there are 3 tiers, and there are some advantages to some of the different tiers. So you might check that out if you're interested as well. But that's as much as I'm going to promote. So I'm going to get I got my little strawberry laid down with their little flowers, and I'm going to grab a sentiment. And I'm just kind of looking at, this one says, "Happy birthday, your top shelf." This one says, "Here's to good times and great friends." And then a day, this good calls for something. And then I'm going to go with the margarita one. Some days just call for a margarita. And the reason why I chose that one is the Y and the T, the way that they kind of hang down, they're going to hang down kind of around the hat. I think it just fits perfectly. So that's why I chose that particular sentiment. And that'll finish off this card. Now, stay with me because we're going to do another card. But I did go ahead and do most of the assembly because you guys have seen how to assemble it now. And I've got my card panels. I use the Dot and Posy Duo 3D embossed folder that's brand new on some matte metallic pink cardstock. And I use the daisy side of that 3D embossing folder. And you can see I've got a panel that I had previously cut congrats out of it. And I also then cut my swizzle stick for this card out of it. And I'm just going to get it laid down on here. And we'll use this on our card base. Now, I'll go to trim this thing. This is funny, and I'm leaving it in here. So I'm like, oh, there's white hanging over the edge there, and there's white hanging over the edge here. And I wasn't looking at it, and I'll realize I cut the side where the card base was connected. So I haven't realized it yet. I'll figure it out here in a minute. And I'm like, oh. So we'll have to get another card base and glue the panel down on it. So this is where I'm like, what did I do? And I'm like, I cut that card base. I cut the edge that the base was on. So I'm going to trim off the white that's hanging over there. There's just a smidge, and I'm going to clean it up. We're going to get another card base, and we're going to get it glued down on there. So we've just actually got a double layer. I'm going to drop this twice. I was like, I can't hold on to anything. And so we've got a good sturdy panel here going now because we've got 2 layers of our heavy cardstock there. I'm going to take that. I've got some glue for my fingers on there, and so I'm just buffing it off that metallic, and it wipes off really nice. So this little piece of pattern paper here is not too shabby. And I was looking for some pattern paper, and I found it, and I thought, oh, this will be perfect to go with my strawberry daiquiri. So I'm going to line this up on my glass mat and get it laid down. And I was like, oh, that center is right there where that line is. I went to line it up with the line on my glass mat, then I realized there's a line on the embossed folder that I could have used to center it. So I just put some tape runner on this vellum, and I was trying to keep it where it wouldn't show, but once I pressed it down, I looked at it and I thought, well, you can't even see it. So that was awesome. So here we've got a strawberry daiquiri, in a pink metallic cup. And we have got, this would be sugar instead of salt. And we're going to get it laid down on to the rim of our cup. And I'm going to struggle with getting it lined up. So I'm just going to pinch it with my fingers and get it laid down on there. And then we'll get the other one, much like we did our salt on our margarita glass. I like this. This is a fun color scheme here for a girlfriend or something. I think it's a fun one for that. So I've got my swizzle stick in there because I didn't want to glue down without having my stick in there. Now it has moved on me, but I'll be able to move it. I'm just giving a pinch so that those two sugar strips get adhered on there nicely together. And then I'm going to take some strawberries that don't have greenery on them, because I would have snipped the greenery off before I put it in the drink, because you're not going to want leaves in your drink. So they didn't get the greenery, but I've got a strawberry with some greenery on it that we'll use to adorn our card with. And I'm going to pop this one up since we laid the other one flat. And we're just going to have 2 strawberries in the bottom of our glass. And I've got this little strawberry flower with some leaves, and it's going to go on our swizzle stick. And we're going to get it laid down on our card base. I think it's cute. I like the pink elements. I thought it went well with the concept of the strawberry daiquiri. And we're going to get it glued up nice and neat, and we'll get it laid down here on our little scalloped stitched panel and our stitched vellum. And then I'm just going to bring that other strawberry back in, and I decided to go on the opposite side of my swizzle stick, and that way we'd kind of have some visual interest on both sides. And then we're going to take our cinnamon, and I'm going to put it down there at the bottom. And the cinnamon on this one says, "Here's to good times and great friends," and that's what we're using on this. And I'm just going to lay it flat, and I think it nestles in very nicely in that particular spot. So we've got 2 very fun cards with this set. So here's our daiquiri, and here's our margarita. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.